It gives me pleasure to address you all on the 17th annual awards and the 72nd. This evening belongs to not only the athletes, because the composition of our setup is that we have to recognize the performances of our athletes, but also, most importantly, we also have to recognize all who have contributed to the success of the Tobago Falcon Games, which has returned to Tobago this year after 4 years absence. The team, similar might, for those who have been committing and toiling and sticking it out over the years, I just want to touch briefly on the performances of the athletes. While the numbers are small, I think we continue to have a very high percentage of success. Very high percentage of success. When you take into consideration 5 athletes who are CLARKE trials, and at least 3 could be on the team, and that has been consistent. You have 8, you have 6 making the team. There is, in fact, a level of consistency. Notwithstanding the fact that it's most is in the field of field event athletes. It says something. I want to take the opportunity at this point in time to point out a very significant fact and kind of chart the direction in going forward. They said Tobago can be a catalyst for a lot of things. And I just want to say publicly, if we put our differences aside and work to the strengths of each of us, no one can stop us. I want to pay homage to Mr. Wayne Stewart. Very low-key, but he's our field coach. Sits on his vehicle and bark his instructions. However, it is my opinion that Mr. Stewart is underutilized because we have much more throwers in Tobago, and probably we need to get to the stage whereas we recognize that Mr. Stewart has been very instrumental in getting the smaller ones up to Carifta. Probably the time has come where we need to feed Mr. Stewart, whoever it is, with those athletes, and when they get to the other level, then we have the Mr. Franklin's in throw, and we have Mr. Morrison in the other things. So that I want us to seriously consider in going forward in Tobago how we can explore and get better results if we really work. Yeah. Mr. Morrison, welcome. Kaizen Panthers. And I just want to take the opportunity to say very early, because we have a relationship going that will be known to what I'm talking about. But I just want us to know that Mr. Morrison is also part of Tobago Falcons. So when you see us with our relationship, you know where that relationship comes from. Okay? The success of Akim Stewart, again, did not come overnight. I am not the person who believes in complaining if you know me. My daughter, we would have been traveling to Trinidad along with her mom very often to practice, to train, to get competition because the facility is not available. However, I think those times, Chief, you are on your way, probably you still have, what, a little over a month? Probably could do some magic in a month. We have had the high jump, guys in high jump excelling over the last few years. Unfortunately, we still have not gotten a high jump mat. Mr. Farlene as director, we have no high jump mat. We have the high jump, the junior champ, the senior champ, the national record holder, all coming from Tobago. So that's one of the things we need to treat with almost immediately. This year we would have brought it from Trinidad and borrowed it for some time, but it's something that has to be here permanently, right? So the challenge faced by Akeem and everyone else, I would want to make a plug for us seriously to consider two things. It's not you are involved in this also. A strength and conditioning facility. We are having a lot of injuries, and most of the time we wait until the athletes are injured to try to get them back into fitness. I think the time has come where we need to try to deal with prevention prior to athletes getting injured. And of course, strength and conditioning, and of course that leads to rehabilitation. We need to have those. You don't have to be a big room. As far as I'm aware, it could be a small room, getting the right type of equipment and the right kind of setting, because one of the challenges we are having across Tobago is that financial cost in order to treat with medical expenses. So I know we have the elite facility in Trinidad, and since as the country is Trinidad and Tobago, the time has come to ensure that some bit of that facility is brought to us in Tobago so that we don't have to journey to Trinidad in order to get the rehabilitation. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the evening belongs to you all, not to me. I'm sure the other speakers will address all other matters, including performances. I just want to say congratulations to all our juvenile and junior and senior champions of Trinidad and Tobago for 2015, and for the Akeem and Clarence who are actually leading 2015 in terms of performance. Leading the performance listed, yes, Clarence in the under 18 discuss. I just want to congratulate you all and please ask you all please to continue to work hard. And the last plea I want to make is a plea to have greater support from parents. Parents and guardians. We need to see you coming by on the track, dropping. We need to see you coming out when they are performing. We need to see you at meetings. We need to see you at giving us a call to find out what is happening and not we always having to call you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my contribution for the evening. Thank you.
Mike Phillips to be here bringing you an address on behalf of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago. But if you have been following the news closely over the last few weeks, you could understand that the chairman might be a little bit preoccupied at this time. So I am standing in his stead. On behalf of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago, I want to say happy anniversary. Happy 17th anniversary to the Falcons Athletic Club. I look at your theme, dedication, and I recognize, without having to think too much, that there must have been significant dedication on behalf of club officials, athletes, parents, and supporters in order that you sit here and stand here today celebrating 17 years. It does not come about an anniversary such as this unless there is dedication from numerous corners. And I congratulate you for this dedication. I say congratulations to the athletes and their accomplishments over the last year. I remember 2 celebrations ago, I was the featured speaker at the awards function, and I stood in awe as I listened to and looked on at the accomplishments of the athletes then. And I know that we come tonight to celebrate accomplishments even beyond those that we would have seen 2 years ago. As a director on the board of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago, I have determined to do all that I can possibly do to advance the cause of track and field in Tobago. Those of you who know me know that I come from football. Football is my first love. I ran some track and field in Bishop's High School, But went to university on a football scholarship. Football is in my blood. Mr. Lucas and I would have played together for Tobago. We would have tried out for the national team together. So he understands. However, I'll tell you this. Over the last 7 years, it is clear to me where the opportunities for Tobago's young athletes lie. And those opportunities, I am convinced, the best of opportunities lies in the field of track and field. I'm convinced of it. And to add credence to what I have observed, I'll share with you. Wednesday I spent some time with Cleopatra Borrell at the Elite Athlete Gym at the Hazy Crawford Stadium. And she expressed her excitement and a strong desire to spend some time in Tobago working with athletes. Why? Because she said she is convinced that what she has seen in Tobago and what she has seen of the athletes in Tobago, the athletes here represent the nation's best opportunity for medals. I am sorry that the chairman wasn't able to attend, because Mr. Lucas would have been able to direct his prompting about a high jump mat and the Elite Athlete Gym to the chairman, who would have been able to respond probably more forcefully than I can. But I spent some time on Wednesday as well speaking to the manager of the Elite Athlete Gym at the Hazy Crawford Stadium. And I would have been enlightened as I stood there talking with him and watching Cleopatra work out. And the manager has pledged, and I now pledge, his support, because he's an employee of the sport company of Trinidad and Tobago, in helping us to identify the most feasible, most viable option for ensuring that we can have an elite athlete fitness center stationed in Durly. I am committed to the task of working the opportunity that I have as a director of the sport company, on the board of the sport company of Trinidad and Tobago, to do all that I can to bring this about. I have paid attention for the last couple of years about the plight relating to high jump mats and hurdles and others, and the timing system resident in Tobago. And I assure you here, athletes of the Falcons Athletic Club, and to all track and field athletes in Tobago, that as far as I am able to, I will push the cause to ensure that you can have those facilities that you need to take you to the next level and to make our nation, and in particular, this beautiful island of ours, proud. Thank
you. The entries has now been operating under the Companies Act of Trinidad and Tobago, so we no longer an executive, but we have a board type structure, fewer members, and we were able to separate the operations from the organization itself, where we had the secretary and everybody involved. Athletes, parents, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's always a pleasure for me to be in Tobago, and I don't know if Mr. Lucas remembers this, but the Tobago Falcons awards function was one of my first assignments when I was installed as president back in 2007. And continue to be part of this celebration. Mr. McFarlane said that he's from football, but I want to tell him here, wrong sport. Football and cricket continues to be seen as our #1 and #2 sport, but the most successful sport in Trinidad and Tobago is track and field. 18 or 19 Olympic medals. Track and field is responsible for 15 of 19 of the 19 Olympic medals. So that track and field continues to represent Trinidad and Tobago on the international, the regional stage well. Just this past week, I had a meeting. I was invited to a meeting with the Prime Minister. Some of you may have read that Michael Johnson from the MJP High Performance Center visited. It's an arrangement with the Olympic Committee and BPTT. And some of our athletes are recommended that they go there for testing. And the information is communicated with their coaches so that they need to work with that. And the Prime Minister asked to meet with him. So the request for High Performance Center, the discussion or the conversation is happening, where we are trying to set up a satellite MJP for Trinidad and Tobago. And it was very interesting for me to be part of that meeting, because sitting in with the Prime Minister and hearing him speak to track and field, you know, he's on the board. He has information on all the athletes. He was able to say to us, he recognized that Misha Liahi in 2015 suffered a lot of injuries. And he understood that she went to MJP, got assessed, and her performance this year was exceptional. She broke the national 200-meter record, an event that she never used to want to compete in. So that something is happening there that we need to use and either partner with the high performance gym and have that kind of knowledge transfer with the Elite Performance Center in Trinidad. But I want to take the opportunity to congratulate the Falcons Athletic Club. 17 years. Just last week I was at the Abilene awards function, 53 years. That's an institution. So 17 is a lot of years. And I want to support or endorse Mr. Lucas's plea earlier. This sport relies on the contribution of the parents, the athletes, and the coaches. It's a three-way thing. We cannot just depend on the athletes or just the coaches. Parents, you need to be involved. You need to be involved. As a former athlete, I can share that. My mom used to be at every event I competed at, although she never saw me run, because she used to be more excited than anybody else. And from the time the gun was fired, she would turn her face and wonder whether he won. But she was present. She was present. So that support is very important. It is very, very important. We have to, another area, critical area for us is nutrition. Our nutrition, our athletes, we have a lot of athletes. Imagine an 8-year-old has a hamstring problem. 8 years old. In my athletic career, I had one injury. One injury. So something is happening at that level that we need to address, because our young athletes, in the entries, we have a program. We are into about 38 schools at present with 10 coaches doing what we call the Kids Athletic Program. And we really refer to that as the fundamentals of track and field. And the fun is very, very large. Fun. And what we are noticing is, especially in the school system, the coaches or the teachers, the competition is with them. So they push the athletes so that the teachers can look good. We won. But they are chasing our young future Olympians and world champions from this sport. And we have to look at that very carefully. Again, I want to congratulate all the athletes. Mr. Lucas spoke about quality, not quantity. It's 5 athletes making it to trials and 3 making it to the team. And we, in the fraternity, continue to look out for our Tobago athletes. We continue to do that. We have, over the last couple of years, the contingent of Tobago athletes continue, especially at the curricular level, continues to be almost 50% of our total team. I want to say tonight, next track season, Trinidad and Tobago will be hosting it's now called the NAAA Age Group Championships. It used to be the CSC Age Group Championships. This is the run, jump, throw competition. So this next year, included in the competition will be the USA and Canada. And it is our intention, we have proposed to host those championships in Tobago. We want to bring more regional so that those championships are carried for the June next year. So we are looking to host that here, and in the next 3 to 4 years, see if we can bring Carifta Games back to Tobago. The last time we were here in 2005. So that we are working to do that. Again, I want to, on behalf of the association, to congratulate the Falcons at the club, 17 years, all the athletes, all the best, and we look forward to a successful 2017. Thank you very much.
I said when I came in that I was really happy to be here. And one of the reasons is that I'm now Secretary General of the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee. And often it takes me away from Tobago. But I can tell you that my heart is in Tobago. And I'm always looking out for what is best for Tobago. So trust me, all this talk about Elite Performance Center, Strength and Conditioning, Michael Johnson Performance Center, all of that is very close to my heart. And as long as I am Annette Knott, we will make sure that something. So now they've asked me to do what they consider to be the feature address on dedication. But really and truly, it's a conversation that I want to have with you. And especially to appeal not only to the athletes, but also to the coaches, supporters, and parents. Because while the athletes, we might be pushing them and talking to them about the dedication also has to come from the parents. And as Mr. Serrette said, it was because of his role as his mother's role, being there, supporting, made all the difference. And if we think of our president of Falcons Club, and think of Durly Lucas and his wife, the kind of dedication they've had, not only to the Falcons Club, but also to their daughter, who won the first medal for a female at the World Championship. And I'm going to just deviate a little bit. I think we take it for granted what happens. We see Josanne wins a medal at the World Championship and everybody says, oh, that's great and that's fantastic. But when you're out there with more than 100 countries and you're just one person in a small island of 45,000 people, it is a major feat for you to win a medal, any type of medal, at that type of event. And so, Durly, for your dedication and for your wife, dedication both to Falcons and to Josanne over the years, we thank you. So there are many quotes that you can easily Google on what is dedication. But one that I found that is useful, and it comes from a very great athlete, Jesse Owens. And for those who don't know, Jesse Owens was an Olympic medalist, 4-time Olympic medalist, in 1936. So we're talking dedication since 1936, 80 years ago. And he said, we all have dreams, but in order to make dreams come into reality, it takes an awful lot of determination, dedication, self-discipline, and effort. And I said to you as I started that it's not just about the athletes. As a parent, I need to do something in my house, and my child says, but I want to go to training. And the parent said, look, not today. I have things to do. What we want you to be very aware of, that it takes determination, dedication, and self-discipline from all. He knew a thing or two about becoming an elite athlete, and that, as I said, was 80 years ago. I'm sure you would have all heard time and time again, if not from your parents, athletes, from your teachers, coaches, mentors, and employees. In the case of people at work, your employers. The price of success is hard work, dedication to the job at hand, and determination whether you win or lose. Because on your road to success, you will have many occasions when you lose. And what tells you and decides your character is whether you can pick yourself up and move on again. Too many times we may want to give up because the workouts were too hard, or it's tough getting to practice and getting home. We may want to give up to our parents because the parents talk about schoolwork, and we all know here in Trinidad and Tobago that parents often feel that the only road is the academic road. And what that says actually, that there's no balance. And I'm going to use Falcon Club, Athletics Club, and I'm going to use Josanne Lucas, who is now finishing off her Masters. And that's the same Josanne Lucas who has the first bronze medal in a world championship for Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir here because all the parents here are happy to have their children do both. But sometimes we panic, especially when they hit Form 2 and 3, and they're not getting the results that we want. And you start to say, well, you can't run anymore, because quite often it's if you give them that recreation and that ability to relax, they can probably do much better at the academics. And as I said, so many times in every sport, including besides track and field, football, hockey, every sport, the parents feel by the time the children hit Form 3 that they must stop their sport. But please, the balance is very, very important. Dedication and commitment come from the desire to achieve success. Dedication is the engine to all your ideas, and you have to keep shifting gears to your destination. Like any road, you will come across bumps, such as an injury, or turns, as switching from maybe a 200 meters to a 400 meters. And even sometimes, you will find that the road is closed. And I will say this for the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee. We have a dream, a vision of 10 goals, 10 Olympic goals by 2024. We have 2 Olympic goals, so we still have 8 more to go. But in Rio, we got the road closed for us. And we now have to find a way around that to ensure that we reach our target of 10 goals 24. And from what we can see, what we've heard here, maybe the emphasis has to be looking at some of our young athletes here in Tobago that will take us to that. What we have to say is we thank Akim Stewart of the Falcons Club that after the, I would say, disappointing Olympic Games, thankfully for Keyshawn Walker, he got the medal, but thankfully for us, Akim Stewart, and when I say us, not just the Olympic Committee, because it's the Paralympic Committee that take Akim to the Games, but for a nation, that we had somebody to be really proud of. And Akim, congratulations once again. Talk about quality and quantity. They took 3 athletes to the Paralympic Games, and they came back with 3 medals, and Akim had 2 of them. So that's so an athlete is passionate about their sport. Sometimes the passion is the parents' passion and not the athletes. we have to ensure, while we may guide them along the way, that the athlete wants it, and the athlete wants the dream. Because you can't dream for them. You might have wanted a dream, but you didn't get there. But don't expect to live your dream through them.
Amen.
It's important, very important that you understand this. Because too many times when the athlete gets to 19, 20, they said, I've had enough of this. Enough of it might be because of burnout, but also of it because it was never their dream. It was the parents' dream. And maybe out there, because you're not connected to sport, there might be some dreamers that we're not even meeting. And so I think that sometimes we have to broaden our net and also look for people who may not have been connected in sport but had some kind of talent. So parents, remember, don't push it if your child, but you need to be there to guide, because sometimes they're not really sure of what their dream is. I can give you 100 examples of athletes and what it takes to get them to the podium. There are a number of persons here who will give you stories of hard work and dedication. Your own president of the entry is Mr. Serrette. When I met him, the first story I heard about him was that he beat Hazley Crawford. But he will talk to you, and he can tell you loads of stories about how the dedication, where it got him, what it was able to do for him in his life. And I know that for many of you, your president, Durly Lucas, his wife, as I say, all the work that they've done, the fact that they've been dedicated to keep Falcons Club going for 17 years, especially when in times in Tobago, it has been really tough when they've had all the internal arguments, etc. in athletics that we all know about. The difference between the athlete at the top of the sport in the world and an athlete that doesn't make it is the dedication themselves in getting there. Often in these times, people are motivated by money. It helps, and of course, it is necessary, it's a necessary resource to be able to get you to the top. However, if you do not have the passion, the commitment, and the dedication to realize your dream, no amount of money will get you to that goal. No amount of money. For those of the recent workshop on Thursday with the Michael Johnson Performance Center, they showed the many athletes what it is like to get to the top of their sport. They showed a number of people who were actually at the MJP Center, including people for the Manchester United, people Lingard. They talked all about many of the athletes, including the ones from Trinidad and Tobago who have been there. And I'd just like to let you know, for information, that we have had our athletes from Tobago that have been there to the Michael Johnson Center. Simoy Hackett, Kellyanne Batiste, and Josanne Lucas have all been assessed at the MJP Center. So Tobago has not been. When we look at the recent Olympic Games, and in the women's 4x4, and I don't know if you all remember when Shauna Miller from Bahamas dived over the line to win the gold medal. That was determination. It was her passion. She wanted to win that gold medal. But with all of that, if she hadn't been dedicated enough to have worked hard to get up to that stage, she couldn't be in 8th place and dive over the line, could she? So therefore, besides having that passion and commitment, she must have done the hard work to have gotten her there. Most coaches and sports scientists will agree that you are unlikely to succeed without a favorable mix of genetics. So parents, we're giving you a little credit there. You had to have yourselves have been a little sports person. The social and economics factors are also important, because if you really don't have the money to get your athlete to an event, etc., it does affect whether they can make it to the top. What you would agree though is that they are likely to succeed if you do not dedicate yourself to hard work. And for all of you young athletes, you know what hard work is. For those, I know quite a few of you are in the field events, but I'm sure even though you're in the field events, you still have to do some track work, etc., because you have to build. We talked about strength and conditioning. That is going to become very important to you, because while we're not looking at for throwers and from the discus, javelin, etc., we're not looking for bulk, but what you're looking for is strength, and that strength will only come from working at that side of it. You have to have a balance. You have to have a balance of your talent and the technique, as well as having your strength. I've heard, at the recent Rio Olympics, I spent quite a lot of time with Mr. Serrette in the stand, and I learned so much about athletics. I always thought that I knew quite a bit, but I learned a lot more about athletics during that games, and there was also some amusing things he told me about, like when you get around the bend in the 200 meters, the bear has a piano on their back, and I was like, oh, I didn't know about that. But do you all know that story? Yeah, okay, if you don't, speak to Mr. Serrette and he will tell you. And so I was actually looking at people coming around the bend, and I could actually see them almost literally carrying the piano as a bear, because it really makes a difference. I've heard that running 300s in training is terrible. When the coach says you have to run 300s, people say, oh gosh, no, not today. This is the worst that could happen to me. Correct? Yes, you see them putting up their hand. I'm going to die if I have to do any more 300s. But the 300s are going to make the difference to you becoming a top athlete and not becoming a top athlete. So we have passion, we have commitment, and we have dedication to take you to the podium at Carifta Games, at the World Games, at the Olympic Games. You can have all the passion in the world. So you say, I really want to dream. I want to get to the Olympic Games in 2024. I'm going to be one of the gold medal winners. You commit. You say, yes, that's my dream. I'm going to make it that my dream. But if you don't have the dedication to do it, then you won't realize that dream. So it's very important in the recipe to have dedication. So passion, commitment, and most importantly, the dedication to do the hard work to become a success. Dedication is needed in life to achieve success. Not just on the track, but in your life. And for many of you, as parents, as coaches, who would have spent many, many hours on the side of the field, we thank you and we congratulate you for all your dedication. We congratulate all the people who have supported the Falcons Club for their dedication, because you wouldn't have gotten to 17 years without that dedication. And to all you athletes, young and older, we thank you for your commitment to the athletics, and we hope that for many of you young ones in the 16 and 17 age group, that 2024 will be your dream. Tokyo is 2020, it's less than 4 years away. It's not out of your dream, but 2024 is well within your dream. And I want you to all to start dreaming. But to do that, you need to dedicate yourself to hard work to achieve your goals. But most important, you need to have fun doing it. Thank you very much.